this means I can't charge my phone.
Not to worry, it'll be fine. We're live now, so stop swearing at me. Este,
No,
how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thanks. Just bear with me 1 second while I go to my phone, and I'll just make sure that this has gone live on my phone. Let's
Yeah, that's
see.
what I'm doing as well.
Okay, there we are. And that's gone live now, and we'll be able to see comments as they come up. Sometimes I can see them, sometimes I can't, but we'll just get on with it. So, Este, how do we know one another?
Well, I think, oh, hang on, hang on. Before I answer that, did this go on my page? Did I share that? Yeah, yeah. Yes. Ray. All right. We are
Okay,
on my Facebook page live as well.
jolly
All right,
good.
back to you.
No
How we
problem.
know each other?
Yeah,
I think we have connected on Facebook before we actually met in the flesh,
we did.
and that was on top of the Glastonbury tour.
It
I
was. It
think it
was
was.
one. It was one of Amanda Lawrence's events, so the ones that she organised, right?
That's right.
And yeah, I remember coming over to you, right? And we had a little chat, and I recognised you straight away. We had the chat and stuff like that. What were you doing on Glastonbury tour?
Well, I was hanging out with Amanda.
All right. So, so are you into all this spirituality stuff then?
Well, you could say that.
Okay.
You could say that.
Okay. You're not
Are
very
are you?
forthcoming. What?
Sorry.
How
Are
did?
you?
Oh, well, I am. But spirituality to me means a lot of people think it's to do with religion. But what spirituality to me means, it means working with the universal mind, really. And it's something that, and this will probably click into what you do, but there's more going on in our minds and in the world than we can possibly realize, I think. And lots of people like myself, I was trapped in this, what they call 3D mind for a long, long time, but sensing that there was something bigger outside of that. But I didn't know how to get into it really. And because this is your field, I'm going to be turning over to you in a minute to carry on. But I then, what the way I got to this understanding was I had to really get to a sort of a rock bottom with my own thinking, right? And in the end, I got to such a state, I just cast everything off and said to the universe, look, I've had enough now, so please let this be the end. And something happened in that moment where something opened up, and I began to realize that there was much more stuff going on in the invisible realms. That I had a sense of it for a long time since I was a child, but I just didn't know how to access it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really with you on all of that, and I can really relate to a lot of the things that you said, because something very similar happened to me as well. So same for me. I had to hit rock bottom, and same like you, I knew as a child as well that there was something more, but then life and circumstances and culture and society and school especially, I don't know what kind of school you went to, but where I went to, it was just making you into a good office worker is what it was all about, right?
Right.
the um,
So do you think that
the
we were sort of misdirected away from who we are into who they thought we should be?
I think so. I
Okay.
think so. most
And
most schools anyway, they are just someone I like to listen to calls them indoctrination camps. and
yeah,
I and I really hated school. I just this if so if you ask me, would I like to be born again on this planet if there is such a thing as reincarnation? I would say no, and the main reason would be because I don't want to go through school again.
yeah. So do you think that more and more people this is a rhetorical question because I know what your answer is, but do you think that more and more people are sort of waking up to that sort of realization that we've been nothing but programmed automatons and basically just slaves, really? Do you think
I
that
think
if
so.
more and more people wake up to that understanding, that we can start to get together and create something that's a bit more free?
Absolutely. That is actually what I am up to in this world.
I think we are, and I consider you, because I've only met you in the flesh a couple of times, but I consider the connection I have with you, it's almost like a soul to soul connection, that we've known each other before. We've incarnated here for the same purpose, and it's probably to use our own skill sets, our essential abilities, right, to try and do something better and make the world a better place. I sound like a very big vision there, but that's the feeling that I have, that more and more people are waking up to the fact that they've been misdirected away from who they essentially are. And they're reconnecting now with their soul, if you like. And now it's their soul that's guiding them forward. Does that make some sort of
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, and I think it's been going on for quite a while. There is different people saying different things about it, like that the first waivers started to come in like in the 60s, I think. And since then on, and then there was like a big opening in around 2012.
Yeah.
And then like obviously I'm from the 80s. And all of these people were like my parents' generation. I mean, my mom was a very spiritual person, and she was a great wayfinder, but she only did it for herself.
Right.
And that's where my spiritual connection comes from. Like that's where my connection with personal development and spirituality comes from, is that my mom was really into this, and she had loads of books, and eventually she went to seminars. And so I was surrounded with books, and I was 11 years old when I read the
Yeah.
Celestine Prophecy, I think it's called, by James Redfield. And so I really, really enjoyed that. And obviously there were so many other things that were surrounding me in the form of books at that time. And then I went to school and I was trying to share about it with people, and I got empty stares.
Yeah.
And then this went on for a few years, and then my mom, her life, the way that she was changed, but her life didn't change. So I decided spirituality was BS.
Yeah.
And then I became the most unspiritual person that you can imagine. And that was from maybe when I was like 14 until pretty much till 2017. When 2017, life started to get really, really difficult. And I was complaining to a friend. And she said to me, I never forget this moment. She said to me, do you know, Este, when nothing else works, because I was into personal development at that time, right? Between 2014 and 2016, I was working professionally as a coach and executive at a international coaching company very successfully. However, I worked 70-hour weeks, so it was a killer, and my nervous system was gone by the end. But what I'm trying to say is that I was really involved in personal development and coaching, but I was a really no for spirituality. So this friend knew me really well. And so in 2017, when things started to get really, really difficult, and that was also at the same time as I was completely burned out then after this job. And this friend said to me, you know, Este, when nothing else works, sometimes spirituality is the answer. And at that time, I was like, okay, all right, so what are you thinking? And then she said to me, well, why don't you read this book? It's a really thin book. It's called The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. And so I read that book, and I was in so much pain, like mentally and emotionally, that I thought, okay, I'm willing to try anything. So I started going through this book and religiously did all the exercises that were in the book. And that's what really started or restarted that conscious relationship with the universe.
Fantastic. I mean, it almost seems though that individuals have to get to that sort of rock bottom where they've
Yeah, and
run out of thinking, and they've
yeah,
they've, they've thought every thought that could be had, and they've come to the end of their thinking really. And that's where I got to, is that this approach that we use, right, is beyond psychology. It's beyond psychology, and it's out of the head and back into the heart. Now, when I say that, I get a thing going up my spine like that. And that's an indication that we're on the right path talking. This is my indication. And it's almost like there's something behind me. And I don't know, and I don't get into it really, but there's something behind me that goes, go on, son. You're on the right
Oh,
path.
really?
Keep going, And yeah, it's here now in quite a big way. Now,
Oh, that's awesome.
oh, it's and that's why I seem to work. I work with a lot of feelings, although I do get pictures sometimes and voices and things like that. But when I was really ill, I used to get a lot of that anyway, but they were all alcohol induced. I used to have massive visions in alcohol, and sometimes I'd come round, right, and I'd do a lot of stuff in blackout, and there'd be drawings and symbols and everything that I'd written in blackout. And I thought I was cracking up. And in the end, what happened to me was I tried to do myself in because I couldn't handle all the stuff that was coming to me. And I had like a really, really bad psychotic attack. And they tried and diagnose me as schizophrenic or bipolar, which was called manic depressive, or borderline personality disorder. But I realize now that what it was really was a big spiritual awakening, and that the information was coming in from all those invisible dimensions that had been knocking on my head since I was a child, really. But as you say, when we go to school, they teach us these standard things in order to standardize us and basically make us automatons to make money for people other than ourselves. You know what I mean? And I say that clearly. So, I mean, I'm on one now because I'm helping more and more now to be rebellious in the teaching of children right from an early age. And I was at university this morning, and I was basically saying to the students, asking them, do you think that the education system is working? And all of them said no. And then we have a sort of a workshop then, is how can we improve this sort of thing? So if I ask you a question and to say to you that, how would you improve education right from the start? What would you do to do that? I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but that's the way it's going, really.
Yeah. Well, I think you should ask people much smarter than myself. I don't know how to even start with it. But one thing I know one thing, and this is that so the company I used to work for, it's called Landmark Worldwide, and their flagship program is called the Landmark Forum. And then they have an advanced program. The second one is called the advanced course. And I would make that basic stuff in schools, basically. And you can teach this stuff from like really, really early age. So even primary school people, I can't remember now, but I think the youngest people that they teach this to is maybe like between 8 and 12, and then there is 12 till maybe 18, and then there's the adults. And it's the same thing. It's called the Landmark Forum.
Right.
And it's very hard to explain what it is, and I'm not saying it's a complete thing, but it's one of the best things I've done for myself in my life to go with the education, and then I ended up working for them as well. And it's just my words. Nobody else says that, but I'm saying that it makes people grow up. It just makes humans into grown-up people and teaches a way of communication with ourselves and others, that you can actually talk to each other like you can, and you're not making things mean things, and you're not making it wrong. And they literally take meaning out of the game. Like they explain to you that you are a meaning making machine. Like life comes at you, and you put the meaning into things, but things just are. And there's a very practical way of implementing this in life, as well as in communication with yourself and others. And that's what they teach. And this whole education, like I say, it just makes people grown-up human beings. So I would make that basic education, the Landmark Forum and the advanced course.
Well, I'm sure anybody listening, if they want to find out more, they can go and Google that and they can find out more information on it. You should get commission really for flogging their stuff, really, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
should.
So what I'm trying to do, I'm like a rebel really, and I'm trying to get kids out of the schools and into homeschooling to start with, so that they're in an environment where they can relax, they can hopefully be with people that they trust, and that the parents then, if they can afford it, because initially it costs money for these things, which is a problem, but they can be in a home environment, they can be more comfortable, more relaxed to be themselves, and they can be allowed then to develop their own strengths. Because what tends to happen in the Western world, which is growing, it's more, the Western world really is like most of the globe now, where we've got these westernized ideas and people have to learn English, maths, science, and all these things, and the artistic side of things tends to be pushed away as though it's not very useful for making money, because I know that you know what I'm talking about. But more and more now, I'm trying to help parents to watch their children, to see what's actually growing naturally within them, and then to help the child in their own personal strengths, really. Because we tend to, if they can focus on what's strong in an individual and not what's wrong with the individual, the child's got a much better chance of working with what they're innately and naturally good at, which will bring them enthusiasm. See, I'm like a lecturer. I've gone into lecturer mode now, but
No
really,
worries.
so there's the homeschooling, but there's also the nature schooling as well, and getting them out into nature as often as possible, really, and just allowing them to explore. So if you like, their own soul can come up, and express itself through their human body. That's where I'm up to with stuff, because I can see that fear blocked me and boredom blocked me. I was bored at school. I was always daydreaming, because I wanted to be out in the park or out by the sea or stuff like that. And I was always told off for daydreaming at school, really, So, I mean, I don't know how we got onto this, but coaching. So you feel, I mean, so you're a professional coach. Is that a lifestyle coach, or what would that be called? A lifestyle coach, would it be called?
I am a super conscious coach.
Super conscious coach. So,
Yep.
so if there's a super conscious, there must be less than a super conscious then, is there?
Well, yes. So, okay, where do I start? In last September, very end of September. Well, let's go back 1 month. So October, a friend of mine sent me a link, and she said, "Hey, this guy talks some sense. Like, I think you'd like this. I think you should listen to this." So I listened to the link that she sent. It was like a free 5-day challenge, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" Like, I found this system, and I found this coach, this business person. His name is Chris Duncan, and he created this amazing system. It's called the Magnetic Mind Method. And so anyway, I went on this course and it was really amazing, and I wanted some more, but I couldn't afford anything at that time. I had a full-time job last year, just for the money. It didn't have anything to do with me, really hated it. Anyway, so there I am, and 1 month later I get an email in my inbox saying, once in a lifetime opportunity to win a $20,000 coaching certification course here at the Magnetic Mind University. And I didn't think twice. I was like, okay, yeah, like, click the link, no thinking, click the link, fill in all the information. And that led to it's amazing. I won this $20,000 coaching certification course, and the whole tuition for the whole year. And like, it was like a complete timeline shift in that moment. Like, it was one of the best and happiest moments of my life. And I've never won anything before that moment, so it was like I was a different person when that happened. suddenly I was in this new timeline and I was this new person, and it was like, okay, this is it. My life is gonna change now. This is it now. My life is gonna change, and this is my new life, my new direction. And it is what I wanted. Like in last year in 2022 and 2023, I was taking counseling, and for 9 months, and part of it was to figure out what is it that I'm on this earth for. And where it got to is that I managed to admit to myself that I would like to be, or I am, like my highest potential is some kind of a coach or a spiritual teacher, something like this. And how I knew this is that in meditations, my higher self and my future self always showed up as a spiritual teacher. So that's how I knew, okay, this is what I want to do. Then last summer, I started writing a book, and the working title is How to Cause Miracles, because I've caused a few of those, including from when I was homeless. That was 2018. I was homeless, and the way that I got myself out of it, to me, it was completely miraculous, because it was completely counterintuitive. That was my lowest low point. That was my complete breaking point. And how I got myself out of it is that I went out to meditate every day. And that's completely counterintuitive, because I really wanted to fix my life. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to fix my life. And this information came to me that if you shift things inside, then the outside will shift as if by magic. And all you need to do is just find that vertical alignment and just find your center, still your mind, and see what you see. Start seeing what you're seeing, because the universe is literally this holographic, more like a holographic projection rather than like solid physical thing. And it's mirroring back to you what's inside of you. So what is the universe trying to mirror back to you? What is the universe trying to show you when you are faced with this reality of being homeless? So I just had to literally, I started meditating, and I meditated for hours a day by the end. And slowly things started shifting, literally by themselves. Literally jobs started coming to me, and everything changed from then on. So anyway, back to when I won the Magnetic Mind coaching certification course last year, September. Completely life-changing. I already knew this was what I wanted to do, but winning that was like, oh my God, even the universe wants to support me to be on this mission. After all of that counseling, and after all of that figuring out what I want, and starting to write the book. And oh yeah, and then I forgot, I didn't say the funny part of the story is that after I decided that, okay, this is what I want to do, I wrote the book. And with the book, I realized, oh, I have actually a framework for an online course, as I wrote the framework, the skeleton of the book. And so I quit my job, and I was all fired up and ready to go. And then I just didn't do it because I still had this, I knew how exactly I was gonna sabotage myself, because all the previous times I sabotaged myself in the same way, and I knew if I start this, I'm gonna do exactly the same thing. And then I won the $20,000 coaching certification course, and so I trained myself as quickly as possible. You can go through the training material at your own pace. So I was certified by December. It's a 12-month course. I was certified by December. So within like 2-3 months, I certified. And it's just the most amazing thing. So what is the Magnetic Mind method? And so I'm coming to this question that you asked me about other levels of consciousness. And so I wanted to say that in the Magnetic Mind method, we say that for all intents and purposes, there are 3 levels of our consciousness as a human being. And it's the conscious mind, and the unconscious, and the superconscious, for all intents and purposes. I know there are other systems and other teachings and other ways of describing what the consciousness consists of, but for all intents and purposes, and for especially our purposes, which is to become conscious creators of our experience in this world, the three levels of consciousness are those: the conscious, the unconscious, and the superconscious. And so the conscious mind is interested in living and thriving, and it wants things, and it has thoughts and feelings. And the unconscious doesn't care about living and thriving. It only cares about one thing, and that is survival. That's the only purpose of the unconscious or subconscious, is to have the body survive, to have us survive. And it gets coded 0 to 6 years old. I'm sure you know this. And the superconscious it has only one purpose, and that is creation. Yeah. That's the only thing that it's interested in, is creation. So then in the magnetic mind, what we do is we learn to be connected with our superconscious more of the time, and possibly all of the time. And when we are connected to our superconscious, then from there we can recode and re-instruct and reteach the unconscious and create new neural pathways, which then reprogram those old programs that the superconscious has.
Oh, you're frozen. I don't know whether it's me that's frozen or you, Este. We'll give it a few seconds. Hello? Is there anybody out there? Just while we wait, I'll carry on for a few moments, and just to say that I intuitively understand exactly what Este is talking about, because this is the... Oh, there she's gone. I don't know whether I'm still on, but this is basically the same system that has helped me to have a new life, basically. And that was to completely surrender and let go of all my old ideas, all my emotions, all my attitudes, the very formative forces of my life, and basically start with a clean sheet. But rather than tuning into any knowledge base or stinking thinking in my head, it was to basically sense the feeling that was driving me from the heart, really. And that's been successful. My whole life has changed around by almost like decapitating myself and throwing my head away and just trying to learn from this this heart, this feeling. Here she comes back again now. What a lovely person she is. Don't tell her I said that. Aha!
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Did you go to the toilet or something?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
why can't I hear you?
I can hear you. Hello?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, try that. Hello? Now you're connecting to the audio. There we go. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. It's on mute. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Clear as a bell.
Oh my gosh.
So, just to recap, I don't know what happened there, but just to recap, three components or three aspects of mind. There's the ordinary sort of everyday mind, conscious mind. There's the unconscious, or some people call that the subconscious. Mm-hmm. But then there's another aspect of mind. It's like an overall mind, which contains all information, all power, and all, yeah. So it's the omniscient, all-knowing, all-powerful, and always present mind. And I would say that that is is that the superconscious mind that can
Yeah.
take, and all the superconscious mind wants to do is create and express itself, right? From unconditional love. Should we bring the love thing in? Right.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Well, Este, I understand that perfectly, and I've got this feeling going on now because that's basically what saved my life, right? All those 32 years ago. Because what I did was I had to take a collection of all my ideas, all my emotions, all my attitudes, the whole formative forces of my life, put them in the package, stick them in my heart, and then start working from the heart then and not from the head. So, you know, we're definitely on the same page. We're working on the same wavelength. And I think this magnetism that we talk about, it will attract to us what we need to take action on a daily basis. I'm not trying to steal the show here, but I think that more or less, I think that we're working from the same sort of a process, if you like. What would you
Yeah.
say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting what you said about the magnetism of the mind, because when we say magnetic mind, I think most people would think it's the mind,
Yeah,
but actually we have a mind down here and
yeah,
down here as well in the gut.
yeah,
We have, I'm sure you know that we have like neurons, very similar cells, neurons here and in our guts,
yeah,
the same as in our brain, and that actually the magnetic field of the heart is much stronger than that of the brain, and yeah. So when we say, I would say, when I say magnetic mind, this is not what we think, what we talk about. This is
yeah,
not what we talk about. And actually, the way that what you said just before, actually, the way to connect to the superconscious is through the heart.
yeah.
Exactly.
And I think people also get mixed up because I did. I had a prejudgment and thought I knew what people were talking about, and I found out that I didn't have a clue really because I understand now that the way I look at the gut is instinct, the way I look at the head
Yeah.
is intellect,
Yeah.
and that's what drives most people. Or it was just gut, head, gut. That was my life. It was very 2D really. But once I started to understand that there was an innate intelligence, right, which connected us with the universe from the heart and opening the heart, then my life started to change. Then I started to get feelings almost as if I was being moved by my heart, and then all
Yes,
sorts of,
I
and
had
then
that too.
yeah, and then all sorts of synchronicities or inspirations kept dropping in out of the
Absolutely.
blue then. And that's how I tend to live my life now. I tend to live on the intuitive feelings I get from here, which are generally the opposite of what's going on in here, because this just wants to defend me all the time and look out and dodge and duck and everything else. So that's what seems to happen. And when I'm on the right path, lots and lots of coincidences happen, almost like leading me in the right direction. Is that sort of similar to your approach?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can, I would say that you can totally put yourself into a vibration, like a vibratory state where synchronicity just is natural and it happens. Like the way that it happened for me, winning the coaching certification.
Well, I think it's marvelous because I like you. I was almost like I was homeless, right?
Oh,
And
you
then I had,
were?
yeah. I was on a park bench for a long time and sleeping home. I lost everything. I lost my wife and kids. I lost my job. I lost my liberty. I lost my driving. I lost everything, you know. And in the end, I
Wow.
nearly lost my life. And it was by going through a certain process that I was reconnected with my intuition or my innate intelligence, which is the essential me, which is my soul self. You know, I'm not a religious person at all, but actually, I think that soul to me stands for source of unconditional love, and it's that part of me that wants to break free and express itself and create beautiful things,
Mm.
right? To improve the quality of my own life, to improve my own health, and then for it to transmit, if you like, and radiate out. I'm not here to save the planet or save the earth. I'm here to save myself. But in the process, it almost looks like other people get helped in that process as well. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I want to say that I have this picture of like a much greater thing than just myself, which is very similar to yours. Yeah, I'm not here to save the planet either, but I just think what I'm
Again. Hello, come back, Este. Just checking my yeah, my internet connection seems quite strong. Maybe it's the opposition trying to stop us coming out with this information. We can smile it away and laugh it away, can't we? The joy of living is our theme. Don't you agree, Tommy James Jones? I'm sure that you do. Ah. Yeah, so I think what Este's talking about and what a lot and lots of people are talking about basically is living a heart-centered life. And I see it even deeper than that. I think that the heart has got like gates which can open and we can go actually deeper and then have direct contact then with something really deep within us, which is, I call that the soul self, but not in a religious way, just in a sort of a deep feeling, sensing sort of a way. And that's what I try and help people with is I can't give them advice because I don't know how their life's mapped out. But if I help them to plug back into themselves, then they can get the guidance that comes from within them. That's how I see it. And I'm just learning myself to improve the connection.
all right. I don't know what's happening. Is it you or is it me?
No, it's you. It's you. Yeah, because I've got a full connection here and stuff. What it will be is it'll be the opposition Este trying to block us from transmitting this freeing information to people.
Yeah, I do have a full connection as well, but it just might not be as strong a Wi-Fi as
Okay.
yours, I guess.
Well, we just keep going because it's great. This I'm really enjoying this, and we're definitely on the same wavelength or working from the same frequency. But you'll have the way I look at it is you will have your innate abilities and skill set, which will be different from mine. However, if we're working to the same purpose about improving our own health and well-being, right, then we can join together like this, for example, and pass that message on in the hope that other people will reconnect it with their soul selves or their hearts and start working from a different vibration. That's my hope, really. What do you think about that then?
Absolutely. And what I was going to say about purpose is what I'm up to is a world where everybody gets to create a life that they truly, truly love.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really possible. And obviously, yes, it starts with helping ourselves. Because if our cup is not full, how can we help other people? How can we give to other people? But yes, I'm like you, I'm not here to save the world, but because I see that it's really possible that everyone can create a life that they truly, truly love. This is the world that I'm up to. This is what I'm up to. And obviously it's a much bigger thing than me. And maybe it's not gonna happen in my lifetime that everybody creates a life that they truly, truly love on this planet. But I can stand for that possibility. I can stand for that, and we can stand together for that possibility.
Yeah, and I think I call it collective individuality, where people work with their individual skills. They've got their own ideas, they'll express them in certain ways for positive benefit. And I think that's how it all meshes in then, that we're all starting to work together then. And nobody's saying, oh, you need to do it this way because my way's better. You can be, it's called sovereignty, isn't it? And self-mastery and stuff like that. And I think once you align yourself right, with the universal flow of superconscious mind, then you are almost attract to yourself, not your heart's desire, your soul's desire. Because there was a book out called The Secret, And I think people could say, you know, they could go to the cosmic superstore and they could say, I'll have a Porsche and I'll have a model and I'll have a big house here and all that, you know. And that was basically driven from a head perspective. I think the reason I feel that that's unsuccessful and it doesn't bring fulfillment is because it's ego driven. And I think if you can understand there's a difference between head driven, which is ego driven, and true purpose, which comes from the heart and soul, I think that's a completely different thing. But you've almost got to get to a point. I'm sort of in lecturing mode now, but I'll carry on for a bit. You've also got to get to a point where your head's desires don't give you what you're looking for. And you almost have to jettison that and start working from here. And then you've got your true purpose. Whether you signed up for this before you came here or not, that's a different story. But that's your true soul's desire. And once you start working for that, you start to feel fulfilled or filled full. And other things start, like miracles, start to be attracted towards you. Over to you before I take over, because I normally do.
And absolutely, absolutely perfectly said. And I was going to say, yes, that's what kept happening to me throughout my life for a very, very long time, because I didn't know better, because I was made into a good office worker in school. So I was locked into this, 3D mind, right? And then I had these ego desires, like exactly the way that you described it. And I was trying to figure out from my intellect what I should be doing. And I needed to hit that rock bottom to just be, okay, surrender to the great flow of the universe, surrender to that great flow, and sort of like allow it to flower, to blossom through my heart, and then just keep listening for that. And it was a process. Now I can see exactly how that process works. And like I say, it took a few years actually to not only to surrender to the great flow, but also to have the seeds that the Creator put into my heart, allow that to blossom, and stop resisting to my own talents and gifts, like my greatest talents and my greatest gifts, and take into account my greatest struggles as well, because where my greatest struggle is where I learn the most, is where, and this is why I know more about that particular struggle and that particular creation than other people, because other people struggle elsewhere. And then I know there are many people who struggle the same way like me. But anyway, that's just to say that yes, I completely agree with you that that I had to change from that, trying to figure it out intellectually and from the mind, and have egoic desires. And 100%, all of those egoic desires, I went after it and I took all the action, but it didn't give me what I was looking for. And what I was looking for, that was that. What I was looking for is purpose. That
I
purpose
agree.
that is really innate and very unique.
I think I was looking out there for the answer, the material world. But it's like that song that Robbie Williams sings about the hole in the soul. We've got this hole in the soul that can only be filled from within. That's how and what is the hole in the soul filled with? It's its own purpose, its own, and that's part of the hero's journey, is to keep looking out there and finding it can be unsuccessful. And then we turn our head around and look within, and it's been there all along. But, I agree with you, and that's the thing, the difference between knowledge and wisdom is sometimes we have to go into the belly of the beast, because I think that, our true purpose blossoms from within the belly of the beast, meaning that sometimes we've got to go through hell, right, in order to really understand and feel what it's like to be completely working the wrong way round in an upside down world. And I think more and more people now are being almost like forced to turn around and face themselves and be honest with themselves. I think it's just the whole process, And if you're into yoga, this would almost like be the bottom of the cycle, which is called the Kali Yuga, the age
Oh
of
yeah,
Kali, which is
yeah,
destruction basically. And
yes.
but we're on the upshift now. So if people can surrender and almost like say to their heart in a sort of a humble way, look, I've tried everything. I've tried to think me way out of everything, but I can't come up with a solution anymore. Dear heart, I wonder if you could possibly help me. And just by saying that, miracles happen, because that's what happened to me. And Este, and like you, I've seen more people change overnight by just doing that. But
Mm,
then there's a process to, I think
yes,
you've got to maintain this connection then with your intuition. And I think things like looking after yourself, looking after your body,
yes.
meditation, which just is basically just sitting and opening your heart, right, and strengthening that connection. I've got a tendency to take over. I apologize. So
No, I love listening to you, and I prefer that this is a conversation.
yeah, and so when we first met, then we were up Glastonbury tour, and we
Yes.
were doing something called grid working. Now, I didn't know, because my first degree was in biomedicine, really. You
Oh,
know,
really?
yeah. So I was like a big boss in the biomedical science field within the NHS, right?
Oh,
And I
I
was in
didn't even know that.
yeah, and so I was like a half person really, because I'd completely closed down my right creative side,
Mhm.
and I was just leading this half life. But when I first started, I was going places, big house, couple of cars, 3 holidays a year, but there was always something missing. And
Mm.
the thing that made me feel better was to get as drunk as I possibly could. And then I got addicted to the drink and all that sort of thing, to get to my rock bottom. So I had to go through the process where I lost everything in order to come right down to my rock bottom. And then the miracle changed, really. That's when I surrendered and I said, because people had guided me and they said, if you say this and do this, if it works for you like it's worked for us, you'll start to see things in a different way. And I started to, you see. And that's what I've been doing now. One day at a time for 32 years, I've been tuning into my heart and asking my heart, please show me the best way forward today, right? And that's what I do. It's simple, really. I just tap on. I say, hello, good morning. What are we up to today? And then I just get a feeling, really. But it's taken me to all around the world, and stuff like that, and it's like you.
Same for
I've
me.
started,
Same
I've
for me.
started to get like success, and I'm not even planning it. It's almost like my soul knows exactly what I desire, and it provides it for me every day, you know.
Mm,
And that's where I'm up to, really. So we're definitely on the same sort of path.
yeah.
But so ideally, then, how would people get in touch with you in order to find out more about this process and maybe enlist your talents?
Well, you're welcome to, if you're watching this, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. And you're welcome to follow me on my Facebook. And I have been tagged on Dr. Joe's Facebook several times. So you can find me through there, Este Cann, Estecann, Este Cann on Facebook. And also I have a website, and that is estecann.com. And you can find out there about my programs. I have a membership running, which is a group coaching program where we meet once a week and we learn to be connected with our superconscious and become superconscious creators, conscious creators of our life experience. And meeting weekly is really important, because we then get to be in a structure where you get to promise or tell us, like, share what you are seeing is the next obvious action to take that is going to take you into your desired reality. And then the next week you can say, I did it or I didn't do it, and what was stopping me, and then we just recode it. We just recode and re-instruct your subconscious, your unconscious mind. And so that's one of the programs that you can find out about on my website. And then I also have one-to-one coaching, and there are a couple of spaces open in that, and you can find out about that on my website as well. And then I am planning, well, actually, and that's also my website, a retreat, um, on the 8th of August. So that's the 8/8 Lionsgate retreat, which was my huge timeline shift gateway in 2023. And I really would love to share that with people in the magical land of Avalon in Glastonbury. Like, I literally did a huge timeline shift last year, 2023, 8/8 on the Lionsgate in Glastonbury. And I just want to share that with people. So there's the retreat as well. And then I do one-to-one retreats as well. And that's also on my page. So please visit www.estecann.com, ESTECANN.com, and then you can find out all about my work. Is that how you say it? So
Yeah.
sometimes I still have a Hungarian brain.
Yes. Yeah.
So sometimes I still have to figure out what I'm saying.
Do you dream in Hungarian or English?
Mostly English, surprisingly.
Strange, isn't it? I mean, see, here we go. I'm getting that feeling again. I don't try and work it out now, but I start to get that feeling. And where I've come to now, and I didn't know any of this at all, but what happened to me was I do a lot of running, and I came down to do a marathon by Stonehenge. Oh no, it was a half marathon, Stonehenge half marathon. And then from there, I had a few days off. So I found my way into Glastonbury for the first time. And I went into a bookshop. And you know how you sort of just get guided to like pick a book out? Well, I picked this book out and it was called The Subtle Anatomy of Man. Right. I opened it and I thought, well, that's interesting. And it started to talk about energy and subtle energies that influence people if they're sensitive enough to pick up the information. And that's what I do now is I work in the fields of energy medicine now, but I also actually still work in my professional life. I still work in the School of Medicine at a university, So I've got my foot in both camps, really. I've got this material anatomy and physiology over here, but I've also got the energy physiology over here. And what I'm trying to do now is, and this seems to be my purpose, is to try and combine East and West now, right?
Oh, that's amazing.
And so what I'm doing is I'm using neuroscience now to correct subtle anatomy with a physical body and explaining how the energy comes in. And then I talk about the chakra system. Then I talk about meridians, nadis, and then how they impact upon the nervous system then. And so we're back into the physical body then as well,
Yeah.
So that's what they've got me doing. And the thing about it, Este, is I love learning new stuff. But other stuff that's happening to me is there's all sorts of light language codes coming through me now in a big way with all sorts of different dialects. Now, I've sort of always done that all my life, but it's coming through now in a way that I'm conscious of it now. So it's almost like information's coming in from different places with different frequencies, but with different languages as well now. So I'm trying to get out of the way while that develops, Is there anything like that happening to you at all, or?
Well, it was happening. I think it was actually in 2020. So I went through this dark night of the soul and then huge spiritual awakening in 2018, 2019. And then 2019, 2020, the light language started coming. And when it first started coming, I thought I was going crazy.
Yeah.
And I had to immediately text a friend who I know has been having it for a while. And I'm like, please tell me I'm not going crazy. This is I can speak like so. And then I haven't done anything with light language since then, really, because I just prefer to be human and stay human and just be here and speak this language. But I know that it's vibration. It's vibration, it's energy that you can't give conscious language to. So I really appreciate that, and I get that. And so if I think about it now, like if I find my vertical alignment and close my eyes, I can literally feel the energy like going in the. So when it first happened, it started like I could feel this really strong vibration, like pins and needles, kind of like pins and needles at the back of my throat and at the base of my tongue, and especially on the two sides of the base of my tongue. And if I close my eyes, I can still feel that energy moving there. So I know that if I wanted to, I could let it out, but I prefer to be human.
Yeah, no, I understand completely. And what I do is when I'm alone, it's almost like a dynamic meditation because it
Yes.
comes in and I get a sense of we are here. Can we come through? You know, and I'm by myself. And so I'll just let it flow. And what seems to happen is it almost like obstructs bits in me. And
Oh,
then
that's
in the
cool.
next few days, I get more and more information coming in now, you know. And Este, I didn't know all this stuff was going to happen. I didn't know what Glastonbury was, you know. And when I go down there now, I've got a lot of friends in Glastonbury as well. When I go down there, I see my friends, right? But I also go to specific places like, you know, the Mary Magdalene Chapel and stuff like that. I'm not a
Love that
religious
place.
person, but I just go now where I feel the energies, you know.
Yeah.
And I've been to quite a few different energy spots, right, in the world, because I do believe that there are certain geographical locations that help us to free ourselves as well and get closer to the. So I didn't know any of this at all, honestly, and it's led me into all sorts of things. But what about, okay, I mean, you want to be human, but do you feel that you have sort of individual guides or maybe helpers that actually inspire you from the invisible realms? Or do you just take it as a general sort of help that comes?
I take it more like a general
Yeah.
help. There might be. I couldn't say. I couldn't say. Like I know that my mom comes to me in my dreams quite regularly,
Yeah.
and also I have a lot of really vivid and teaching dreams, and dreams really work with me. I'm a Sagittarius rising, so
Right.
so dream work and dreams, that's my jam.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of teaching dreams, and like I say, I I meet my mom in my dreams, and sometimes like just an example, I did a superconscious recode one time with Chris, um, in the Magnetic Mind University, and we did this recode. And the night after, I had this dream with my mom, and we were sat on a bed, and she was crying, and I was crying, and I can't remember now the words that were spoken, but I know that we spoke to each other, and somehow in speaking and in crying in that dream, something was healed and something was resolved. And yeah, it was just like together with my mom, or my mom's spirit, or my mom's remnants in myself, or in my unconscious, or in my superconscious, we just healed something that was unresolved in her lifetime. So yeah, that's dreams is my jam, I would say. But the help that comes, I relate to it more as a general.
Yeah.
The universe is my sugar daddy.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. I have I kept getting the number 12, and I was told that I was a number 13, and 13 is associated with the heart, but it's also
Mm.
associated with the Christ energy. And I don't get too hooked into all that sort of stuff. But I get, because I say to my heart, I say, well, what are you trying to say? And I say, well, it's actually connected, Joe. Your heart's connected to the 12 cranial nerves. And the symbology of that is Christ and the 12 disciples, right? I said, well, try and explain to me. Well, the 12 disciples, there's 12 disciplines, which represent 12 different frequencies, which represent 12 abilities of total human potential. And I have to say, hang on, slow down a bit, right? And I go and look at the 12 cranial nerves and see what they do. Well, most of them actually change the way our face moves, right? And the way we hold our facial muscles, right? So when you actually work with changing your face and working the energy points, all these information points start to flow in then, really. So a smile actually opens everything up, you see. So
Yes.
if you're depressed all the time and all that, you can't get much inspiration or intuition, but a smile opens it. It's fascinating, this. And my mum used to say, don't hold your face like that, because if the wind changes, you'll stick like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was told that. Don't do that because you stay like that.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
the
true.
thing about it is, now I've learned a technique called cultivating an inner smile, and I try and allow it to radiate from my heart, from my soul, fill every single cell of my body, right? And it seems to work, Este. So these are just small tips. Now there might be people thinking, listening in, thinking, what a load of old nonsense. I used to think like that. I used to
Yes,
think
me
like that.
too. Me
Yeah.
too.
And my life brought me to a point where I had to open my mind and just temporarily discard any sort of obstructions and just give it a fair trial. And it's basically saved my life, really. Can I just
Yeah.
talk about, before we go, because there's a couple of minutes to go, we can go over a bit if you like, but manifestation then, is it something that you conjure up in your head, or do you allow and trust the universe to bring to you what your soul desire is?
It's kind of a mixture.
Okay.
To me, it's kind of a mixture of the two. So in the magnetic mind method, we say have a true choice.
Yeah.
And so a true choice about your life, and it's just what would you really just love. So what would you want, what would you like to create in your life, that for no other reason than because you just would love it, just because you love it. So no other. And that's a really good way of getting that mind stuff out of the way and getting the ego stuff out of the way, because when you say what do you love, obviously then your heart is engaged. So that's where what you create or manifest, what you are manifesting, comes from here. And what's in every person's heart is actually the what's in your heart of hearts. That's what I say. What's in your heart of hearts is seeds of desire that the creator put there themselves. So if you
Beautiful.
just can, so if you just can go with what would you just really, really love, then it's gonna be a manifestation or a creation. I would like to say it, I would like to call it a creation rather than a manifestation, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's so much meaning attached already to the word manifestation.
Yeah.
And just creation is because we are creative, because what we are at our core level, at our core nature, is we are creative life force energy. That's what we are, beyond this flesh suit. And so that's why I like to call it creation. So is it a mind thing? Well, you can engage your mind in this process, like no problem. Like we have this. It's a beautiful thing. It's amazing if you learn how to use it. So it's not so manifestation. No, it's not like something you conjure up from your mind. It's like you must engage your heart, otherwise it's just not gonna work.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And I say heart of hearts as well.
Oh,
You
you
know,
do?
I do, because it's a feeling, isn't it? And that to me is the difference between imagination, which to me is a head trip, and vision. It's almost like the vision emerges, right?
Yes,
We don't know, but
absolutely.
emerges in a sort of do this today, Joe, right?
Yeah,
And that's how I sort of live my life. So we've come to this in different ways, but it
yeah,
looks like we're working on the same sort of principles, and
yeah.
it's working, And Estee, we've
I
come
knew
to
that.
time. Yeah, we've come to time, and can I just say, you're a beautiful person. You're dead straight, you're dead honest,
Thank
right?
you.
No, you are honestly, and I'm sure that people will be able to feel that when they watch this. So by all means, in the comments, if you put your website details in again in the comments, and if anybody
Okay,
wants
will
to
do.
get in touch with you, they can go. Can I just ask anybody, please don't get in touch with me because I'm too busy. and so I might sort of disregard any messages and stuff. It's not because I'm being rude. It's just because I'm trying to just manage my own energy, really, So please understand that, I can't do one-to-ones. And a bit like Este, I've got a book that's on the back shelf, but I'm not trying to drive it to production. That will come out when the time is right, And I've also
Same
got,
for me.
I've also got a 12 module course as well called the I Am approach to health and well-being, and that will also come out at some point, but it doesn't feel like it's the right time. And people say to me, well, how do you know what to do? I feel it now, and I can trust my feelings, you know, but I can feel when the head's coming in as well, because it obstructs the flow really. And I can,
and if you have a vision, then that vision pulls you powerfully into action. If you have that vision that you would really love to manifest, then you say you feel it, but it's also, you can just always ask yourself, what is the next obvious action? That's what I say. What's the next obvious action to take that's going to take me into that new reality that I'm creating, that desired reality that is in my heart, that vision, like, so.
Yeah, and the Native American Indians call it vision quest. You know, they go out into the wilderness and they're by themselves and they sit and they ask for the vision to present itself.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, we're
and then you know what to do.
Yeah. So Este, my darling, it's so lovely to talk to you. I wish
you
you all
too.
Yeah,
it's been too long, honestly.
It has. And maybe further down the line we'll come back and have a reset and see how we're getting on.
Yeah,
okay?
Great. Sounds
right.
good. Thank you so much for having me. It's so lovely to speak with you, as always.
It's an absolute pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. So thanks everybody for listening.
Yes,
and
thank you.
And I'm just trying to think who's on next. I can't remember who's on next, but I might have a couple of weeks off because I've got quite a lot of university stuff to do. So if you don't hear much from me, I'm still working in the background, keeping my eye on. Este, love, have a beautiful weekend and speak to you again whenever.
Yes, lots of love.
And
See you soon, Doc.
Bye.
Bye.